Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So if you like edgier kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What you do for us is amazing. And a big thank you to our good friends at Critical Failures, where we're part of a live stream game. Check us out on Wednesday nights. With all that out of the way, we're talking about the Circle of the Blighted Druid. The Circle of the Blighted Druid again comes to us from Taldorei Reborn. This is one of those subclasses that I actually think is really great from that book. A lot of the critical role subclasses, and that's where Taldorei Reborn comes from, are kind of hit or miss for me. They are very niche, or they have a lot of abilities, but they don't seem really easily applicable, or they're just not as potent as you would want something with that kind of ability name to be. That being said, like them all, I'm going to read the flavor text so we can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at, and then you'll very easily know why I like it so much. Those who channel the magic of life and nature often find themselves drawn to a particular shrine or natural site, binding their body and spirit to these places of power. Such druids draw vitality from their chosen location, protecting it with their lives, but not all succeed in defending these sacred realms. Whether though the subtle corruption of vile magics, the tainted presence of an ancient terror, or a terrible mistake unleashed by the druids themselves, a land can become cursed with magic that warps any druid bound to that land, twisted by their connection to an unhallowed territory. These guardians come to embody the defiled nature they serve, exalting the natural process of decay and using it to further their goals, or sometimes to seek a means to end the curse that plagues them. Right there, curses, decay, unholy lands twisted by terrors and nightmarish creatures destroying the lands around them. Right there is everything I need. Love it. Absolutely love it. Definitely my deal. Thoroughly enjoy that flavor text. So the first ability you gain when you pick this circle is Defile Ground. Starting at 2nd level, when you choose this circle, you can use a bonus action to corrupt a patch of land or area of water in a 10-foot radius centered on a point within 60 feet of you. This corruption lasts for 1 minute. The corrupted area is difficult terrain for creatures that are hostile to you. Additionally, when a creature in that area takes damage from an attack or spell from the first time on a turn, it takes an extra 1d4 necrotic damage. You can move this patch of corruption up to 30 feet as a bonus action. Flying creatures are unaffected by the corruption. Starting at 10th level, the area of your defiled ground reaches a 20-foot radius. Additionally, the extra damage dealt by your defiled ground increases to 1d6 when you reach 10th level in this class, and 1d8 at 14th level. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. So, here's the cool part. It takes that extra damage as long as someone hits it on that turn. So your party members, your rogues, your paladins, your barbarians, anyone, the first person to hit them, boom, that additional 1d4 necrotic damage. The thing that is the worst about it is you can only use it once per short or long rest. Being able to move it around when it grows at 10th level, it becomes that much more applicable. It is cool. It does build up on some of your other abilities later on, so it will be important. It does kind of grow with you. It's one of those abilities. But it gives everyone an opportunity to deal an additional 1d4 damage once per turn. So definitely getting your damage out, even if you miss, which is one of the benefits, as opposed to like Hex, where like it's great if you hit, but if you don't, it's kind of wasted. And also, this is not taking up your concentration. And it's difficult terrain, so you can use it strategically to slow people's approach to you. Definitely leave it so it's harder for them to get to you, or if you need to escape, you can throw this down and use this to create some distance, which is definitely beneficial no matter what situation you're in, giving this a lot of tactical play for you, and giving you an additional way to deal extra damage without you actually having to do much else besides move this around the battlefield. Also at 2nd level, you gain Blighted Shape. Your physical form begins to show the effects of corruption you wield, tracing blackened veins across your skin, producing gnarled, bony protrusions or other eerie phenomenon, you gain proficiency in the intimidation skill. Additionally, when you are transformed by your wild shape feature, you gain a +2 bonus to AC as gnarled spines protrude from your body. Your beast form also gains dark vision within 60 feet, or an additional dark vision of 60 feet if it already has that sense. So the thing with Blighted Shape, as you're not a moon druid, your beast shapes do kind of vary in what you'll be able to use in that one levels, and it's kind of hard to kind of grow beyond that. Understand that additional +2 to your AC is beneficial. It does help you survive longer, but it gives your wild shape more of a utility feel and a little bit more survivability. Again, you're not going to turn into a bear and tank up something, but what you are going to do is you can be stealthy, you can support the rogue, you can do these things where you're a benefit, and if you do get hit, you have a better chance of dodging it and doing some alternative thing. You have to be on top of your beast shapes, and talk to your DM about that, because you're a druid, depending on your backstory, might kind of give you a reason to have certain types of beasts already known to you so you can use it, or they're just let you pick whatever beast you want, in which case you need to know your beast anyway. Which is also cool because you look gnarly, gross, and have corruption kind of plaguing your whole body that you look monstrous, which I already love as it is. And you have proficiency in the intimidation skill. Now, at 6th level, you gain Call of the Shadow Seeds, and this is actually pretty cool. You learn to summon the feral children of the forest from the life force of your enemies. When a creature that is not undead or a construct takes damage within an area of your defiled ground feature, you can use a reaction to summon a blighted sapling in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the creature. You can direct the sapling to make an attack against any creature within 5 feet of it as a part of its reaction. The sapling then acts on your initiative, obeying your verbal commands. The blighted sapling remains in your service until it's reduced to 0 hit points until the end of your next long rest, or until you summon another sapling, at which point it crumbles into foul-smelling mulch. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, regaining all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And it does have a stat block for it. I'm going to go pretty quickly through the stat block, but it's pretty unique, and it does have a greater purpose later on. Just kind of bear with me. So its armor class is 10 plus your proficiency bonus. So at 6, I want to say it's like 13. Its hit points equals twice your druid level. Its speed is 30 feet. It is vulnerable to fire. It is resistant to necrotic and poison. It's immune to blinded, deafened, and poison. It has blind sight of 60 feet. Blind sight. So remember, if somebody casts darkness in this area, they can still see. It has a passive perception of 9. It understands the languages you speak, and its proficiency bonus equals yours. It has an 8 strength, 13 dex, 12 con, 4 intelligence, 8 wisdom, 3 charisma. When you reach 14th level in this class, the blighted sapling makes 2 claws attacks. The claw attack is your spell attack modifier to hit, 5 feet reach, 2d4 plus your proficiency bonus in piercing damage. Now I know, it does not sound like a lot. It doesn't even sound that intricate, especially at 6th level. But when it does hit, it's 2d4 plus your proficiency bonus, and it acts on its own turn. And it just requires your verbal command to do so, not a bonus action or an action. And you can create one whenever a creature in your defiled ground takes damage. Not killed, takes damage. So you can conjure up a bunch of these pretty quickly. Now, starting at 10th level, you gain Foul Conjuration. This is kind of what's really important. The creatures you conjure are malformed and bloated with toxins. Any beast, fey, or plant, including your blighted saplings, summoned or created by your spells or class features, gain the following traits. Blighted Resilience. The creature is immune to necrotic and poison damage and to the poison condition. Toxic Demise. When the creature is reduced to 0 hit points, it explodes in a burst of toxic mulch or fetid viscera. Each creature within 5 feet of the exploding creature must make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or take necrotic damage based on the creature's challenge rating. And they have a table for that. As an action, you can also cause a summoned creature to explode, immediately killing it. Now, a creature with a CR rating of 1/4 or lower, it's 1d4 necrotic damage. At half CR, it's 1d6 necrotic damage. At 1 or higher, it's a number of d8s of necrotic damage equal to the creature's challenge rating. And no challenge rating is a number of d6s of necrotic damage equal to your proficiency bonus. Now, the Blighted Sapling does not have a challenge rating. So whenever it explodes, it is whatever your proficiency bonus is, number of d6s to explode. You can just cause them to explode as an action. And if you happen to have a bunch of them around at the same time, they could be positioned in such a way that they will all explode one after the other from the damage that they can take. It is very feasible because at twice your level, at 10, they have 20 hit points. A lot of the times that can happen. Most of the time, actually. To be fair, I just completely forgot they are immune to necrotic damage. But either way, that mistake aside, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself and super excited. Please forgive me. The fact is, you now have a big area where you can continuously pop these things up, and if they get destroyed, which they will get destroyed, which is the purpose of them, is to get destroyed. That's why they don't have a lot of hit points, and they have a pretty low AC. They can burst and do a large amount of damage as they die. In that toxic demise, it really kind of spreads this idea of corruption. That is really where this kind of coincides with everything. On top of them being on defiled ground, where they're taking at this point an additional d6 of damage once per turn. Anytime they do get hit, you can summon shadow seeds, and anytime those shadow seeds die, they explode and deal AoE damage in an area. That's kind of based around that 20-foot radius that they also have difficult terrain, so they can't really walk around. Like, it kind of stacks really, really well, and it gives you this great opportunity to summon things and cause them to explode. Just summon them and cause them to explode. And druids have a lot of spells that summon creatures, so you can really play around with a lot of different ideas here and have that happen. Because again, foul conjuration works with any creature you summon. And when that creature that you summon dies, it does additional damage. It all is beneficial to you. That's the great part. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to use your defiled ground to make use of foul conjuration. You just have to conjure animals or spells or vague entities or whatever it is. And there's a bunch of them in the druid spell list for that, which is keen. Incarnation of Corruption is your final ability. You gain this at 14th level. Your physical form begins to take on the tainted trace of the land you are bonded to. Your skin grows ashen, your eyes darken or turn completely white. Spines and jagged spurs emerge from your body, granting you resistance to necrotic damage, a +2 bonus to AC, and additionally, whenever you start your turn within a radius of corruption created by your defiled ground, you can use a bonus action to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. This is a massive defensive bonus. The +2 to AC, plus you can use shields, plus you're a druid, so there's no reason for you not to use shields. You have a lot going for you. You can just give yourself temporary hit points every turn, and now don't get me wrong, you're not taking a huge amount of temporary hit points and like becoming this massive tank, but you're reducing the damage you take every round as a bonus action. If you're on your defiled ground, you're in that situation, you're up close, you are in that tanky position, you can realistically have the hit points and stuff you need to endure and be tanky. This does boost you up a lot. It's a continual usage. Again, you're on defiled ground, so all you have to do is attack and land some sort of hit, and you can still use your Call of the Shadow Seeds and your Foul Conjuration and that extra stuff from Incarnation of the Corrupted, where you get that +2 bonus to AC, and then you throw in the temporary hit points. You're now doing a pretty substantial amount of damage per turn, and you're tankier for it. it's a strong defensive ability. For obvious reasons, this is right up my alley. This druid is something that I really, really like. I love the idea that you're kind of just creating and regrowing corruption and you're using it for your own personal deeds. And it doesn't matter if it survives. What matters is that corruption is expanded and you blow them up for your own purposes. You gain stronger, you get grosser looking, and you're more intimidating, and you have survivability. You have this way to endure the hardships of people trying to purify this horrible thing around you. It's a great way to play a character that starts out really good and made some mistake and is now this corrupted, vile entity, and maybe they're still good in them, and maybe they're fighting to kind of rekindle that greatness, but failing and still being this monstrous entity. It is awesome. You get a lot of play, you get a lot of flavor with the abilities, and it's so great that if you do not land any damage, you can rely on others and still bolster their damage without having to sacrifice you being offensive. You can really still rely on that and rely on others and be supportive while not having to jump into being a total support character. I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's creepy. I think it's so gross, and it's just, I just want to have bones and jagged wooden entities piercing my skin and making me look weird. With that being said, gonna bring this video to a close. If you've made it this far, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and definitely consider being a Patreon supporter. The link is in the description, and the link to our good friends at Critical Failures. Check us out Wednesday night for a live stream game, and thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.